This is a recording of my reading of the article recently published. It's the second post in the series regarding fit facilities. And the name of the article is What's in Your Building? And the subtitle is Do You Know and Truly Comprehend the Correct Operations of the Equipment and Devices and Systems in Your Building, where your or yours applies to you personally, if you're an operator or an owner or an occupant, or it might be your client or your customer's building. In the first post in this series, I mentioned my gratitude for being guided to first learn the actual mechanical equipment and devices and systems that are common in buildings before I was provided the opportunity to dig into and develop mastery of the world of controls and building automation. Like many of you, I am blessed to be a hands-on type of person. One of the first examples of my hands-on nature was actually when I was a toddler. My dad gave me a hammer, a full box of nails, and a 2x4 before he left for the office. When he returned from work that evening, the box of nails was empty and every single nail had been pounded into the 2x4. If you know, you know the satisfaction of driving nails into a piece of wood. There's little that's like that satisfaction. Fast forward to my mid-20s, when I spent time as an apprentice airframe and power plant mechanic. I was in heaven, overhauling airplane engines, repacking wheel bearings, shearing, bending, and riveting sheet metal, and even rewiring the engine compartment of a small helicopter. I learned so many mechanical skills during that time, as well as the physical limitations and correct installation and repair of these components. While a quick study, I quickly learned that to truly comprehend and integrate knowledge or skills, I must have both intellectual and the physical experience. This even extends to book learning. Whether I'm working or whether I was working on practice calculations in college and grad school, or when I make notes while I'm reading today, and even handwriting the first draft or outline of these posts. Are you also someone who, quote, learns from the elbow, unquote? And I'll bet that many of you are, or you wouldn't be in this industry. This is actually to your advantage when it comes to the world of commercial buildings. The hands-on, eyes-on approach is important in this world of buildings, systems, equipment, and end devices. So much of what we do is online, whether it's on a computer, a tablet, in the palm of your hand with your smartphone, or perhaps even on your wrist. And there are even eyeglasses these days, right? That will give you a heads-up display. With all of this virtualization, it is easy to forget that an actual physical device is on the other end of a piece of data, of information displayed on the screen or on that virtual device. It is critical to know and to not forget about physical components, because equipment and these components have physical operating characteristics that must be respected. There are typically physical constraints and limitations, the violation of which may result in unintended consequences, and sometimes machine, life, and safety risks. Let's look at example number one. Think about a service technician who is performing service on a piece of equipment. The technician's hands and head are in the blower compartment where a 20 horsepower fan motor is installed. Safety procedures warrant the lockout, tag-out procedures are followed each and every time. But now let's think about it from a real world perspective. What if the service technician forgot to complete this procedure because he or she received an urgent message on their cell phone just prior to finalizing the lockout, tag-out procedure? The tech may now be in a hurry to quickly complete this current service call because the phone call was about another even hotter service need. What if you are a remote building operator and you receive a call from someone at this facility who notices it's becoming unusually warm in the office? What if you did not know someone is working on the equipment and you pull up the building automation system or the BAS to check on the equipment status? What if you noticed the equipment has stopped and you simply turn on the equipment from the BAS without checking why it was off in the first place, without thinking of what could happen if this was turned on remotely, this piece of equipment or HVAC equipment? Unintended consequences may result. Example number 2. In the 1970s, during the first announced energy crisis, one of the common energy savings approaches was to shut off large HVAC equipment. So think about large horsepower motors or compressors. Then, when the green light to restart the equipment is received, the equipment is simply turned back on. That seems logical, doesn't it? Well, not necessarily. In reality, if the HVAC equipment is not shut down in an orderly fashion, the equipment and the end devices, including motors and compressors, were simply shut down. Everything would stop quickly and not necessarily in an orderly fashion, a fashion that's not equipment and component friendly. This meant increased wear and tear on expensive components, as well as an unknown off state for connected components. Did the valves close properly? Did dampers close properly? When the equipment was restarted, the equipment was typically slammed back on without necessary soft starts for motors that are designed specifically to prolong component life. The result was premature failure of very large and expensive components and pieces of equipment. More progressive equipment manufacturers began developing their own equipment controllers and control sequences to ensure the correct operation of the equipment and components for all modes of operation. These manufacturers knew how the equipment was to be operated and did not want to leave it to chance because they were the experts in the design and operation of the equipment. In recent decades, it has become commonplace for equipment manufacturers to factory install and commission the HVAC equipment with unit controllers for optimal operation. Pre-engineered system applications for proper coordination of multiple pieces of equipment are also commonplace. It is still necessary, however, to understand the equipment, the components, and the systems, so you know what it is designed to do and to assess what deviations may exist. And we'll address this in future posts. Example number 3, the final example. What would happen if you allowed windows to be open in rooms where chilled beam ceilings are installed? Condensation will form on the exterior of the chilled beam ceiling panels if your humidity is high enough, which doesn't take much humidity. The chill beam panels are not equipped with condensate drain pans to catch, contain, and drain this condensation. With enough humidity, condensation may then begin dripping off these panels and onto everything and everyone located beneath these panels. This can also be a very expensive service call if flooring, furnishing, materials on horizontal surfaces, and other materials are damaged or possibly even ruined. These are examples of why knowledge of the physical equipment, systems, and applications is critical. It is necessary to understand how these items are designed to work, what failure modes may exist, proper installation requirements, as well as maintenance and troubleshooting. We'll cover more of this in future posts. So I ask you, what's in your building?